Hello everyone, and welcome back to another edition, of course, of the Misfits Racing League. We are here for round 6, Tier 2 racing action, and joining me, as always, Unicorn, how you doing?
Oh, I'm very excited for this one, Striff. Finally, the tracks sort of start to open up here at Spain. There's a lot more room for overtaking than there has been at some of the previous tracks. I'm thinking Zandvoort, Vietnam. But those were very exciting races despite those limitations on those tracks. So here around Spain, I'm very excited to see what Tier 2 can put out for us tonight.
Well, it is a very intricate, unique circuit. Not the easiest overtaking circuit, but yesterday, Tier 3 presenting with a very intense race in Americas as well. Now we're here for the third out of 5 races this week, and of course it is round 6. Next week we visit the streets of Monte Carlo, Monaco, of course, Azerbaijan. Following that, Canada, France, Austria, Britain, Hungary, Belgium, Italy, Singapore, as well as Russia, Japan. We go to the United States, Mexico, Brazil, and Abu Dhabi, all throughout this 22 round season, all 5 divisions. Of course, massive shout out to our partners in Next Level Racing, fantastic sim racing rigs, and they are really putting their best foot forward in helping out the sim racing community grow. They've got some really quality stuff there on their website, so check them out. Now, we jump in to look at the standings. The standings here heading into round 6 are quite tight. We look at the front of things right now. Hurricane leading things in the Ferrari. Crampy right behind him in second. Azir running out the top 3 here in the Williams. Ferrari, Alpha, McLaren, the top 3 for the Constructors' Championship. Tier 2 presenting us with some very intense campaigns here so far, and we're about to have another one, I imagine, and something that we saw yesterday come into play really heavily in the qualifying for Tier 3 was rain, and of course we have that roll of the dice today, Unicorn. I wonder if we're going to see what we've been waiting all season for. We have yet to have, throughout the entirety of the MRL, a wet race. A full wet race, or a race with major, dynamic changing conditions, and that's what I think a lot of people have been wanting to see. We'll just have to see if today is the day that we follow through and get one of those races.
Yeah, absolutely. When I loaded into that race yesterday, I really thought, after seeing that qualifying, that we were going to have at least an intermediate level race, but from full wet qualifying, it did dry out to inters all the way down to just a completely dry race. Was a big surprise, but a bigger surprise would be if at the end of this week, after all of these races, Tier 2, Tier 1, APAC, F2, if we don't see full rain, then I'm convinced it's been removed from the game strip. We have been so long this entire season, like you said, no races with any rain. If we don't have it by the end of this week, I would be so surprised. I would be so surprised. This has to be the track that we see it at.
We thought we were going to see it in the Netherlands. It didn't happen. So here we are, Spain now, and we'll see if we can get the rain. Of course, we're just waiting for all the drivers to get in and get things readied up in this lobby, and then we'll be headed off for 18 minutes of qualification. Following that, a 50% distance campaign, and it's not a short campaign here around Spain. 33 laps of racing, and 33 very intense laps of racing if the previous 2 rounds are anything to go by.
There we are. Messages out. Everyone should be getting readied, and qualifying should get underway. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this, seeing what everyone can do. This track, like I said, just so much more open than the tracks in those previous weeks. And we do close up a bit as we go to Monaco, probably one of the tightest world circuits on the calendar, but Spain, a little bit of a glimpse into those really tracks that just open up for racing. And it's brilliant to see as everyone is readied up. We've got 30 seconds on the clock.
Well, we're going into a very intense section of the calendar now as we come through. We're going through into Spain. Tight track, not a ton of overtaking opportunity. Turn 1 really the main overtaking opportunity here. Then we go through next round, we visit Monaco, which is pretty well as tight as it can get. Following that, you've got Baku, which can be very unique. And then after that, it's Canada. And Canada, albeit it's, in my opinion, it's a great track, a lot of the drivers, they aren't looking forward to it due to the strict corner cutting stringency. Now, here we go. Jumping into the session as we've been waiting patiently. 18 minutes of qualifying, and of course this is where we're going to get the clear picture of weather now. This is where we're going to see what these drivers are going to be expecting over the next hour and a half or so. I want to see rain.
Yeah. I think everyone wants to see rain. I reckon even some of the drivers at this point, it's just like, come on, you got to give it to us, because they're going to watch this back, so at least they'll take the hit for being the ones that put on the show. I thought Tier 3 yesterday, I thought we were going to be the grid that finally provided that wet race, but not to be. Let's see. We're gonna. My eyes are glued to the chat right now for someone or someone's race engineer to come through with that weather report as we load into qualifying. What is our first glimpse? Obviously, qualifying could be completely different as it was yesterday.
Well, as it stands right now, I have to say the drivers will be getting a sigh of relief in here for qualification, because it appears to be dry, and I imagine, given the sky, it will remain dry throughout this qualifying session. We'll have to see what happens now for the race, and Neon, who is a participant in the McLaren, coming through to let everybody know it is going to be a full dry campaign. So we'll just have to wait again, Unicorn. Perhaps tomorrow for Tier 1 or APAC Division this Sunday we'll see some rain, but not for Tier 2 today. And I imagine with everybody here on the grid, there were maybe a couple drivers that wanted to see the rain. You know, they maybe wanted to see it, but they'll be happy that it's dry regardless, because they'll have the best opportunity to get where they want to get with their strategy and their preparation.
Yeah, exactly. And, you get to go out on a track which suits the car as well. If you've got what happened yesterday where you got a wet qualifying, dry race, or vice versa, that setup can really become a challenge. So, I'm sure these drivers, if we do see a wet race, people are going to want it to be wet qualifying, wet race, just all out, all in, or nothing. So, well, it's another dry race, and first on to out of the softs is Weltering coming through the second sector right now on his outlap, miles ahead of anyone else. It took a while for everyone else to get out of the pit lane here. A little bit of a uptake, wait, and we'll have to see how that pans out. Also, interestingly, both Renaults right next to each other. I wonder whether one is going to get a toe off of the other down that huge start-finish straight, or if that is just a coincidence that they both come out at the same time.
Yeah, I was looking at them. I didn't. I'm thinking it was a coincidence, but one thing I will say here, Weltering, he will be the first out. We'll take you through who is on this grid. We have Azir, Scars, Kai Bacchini, Relax, Neon, Jake with us as well in the Red Bull with Swifty, Rackety, Crampy, Cotters, XTXP on this grid, Liam, Henners, Aliens, Weltering, of course, Hurricane, Mammal, Sam, Wavy, and Darian Alfie in the Ferrari, rounding out this timing tower as Weltering takes us through the first sector on the first flyer of the session, now through turn 3. The AlphaTauri holding that inside, a little bit of a run there on the curbing, and this is something we see drivers, sometimes they run wide, they'll invalidate first runs because, well, the softs here, Unicorn, as I'm sure you can say from experience, they wear out quick.
Yeah, well, actually, lack of experience. Literally no one touched them yesterday as Weltering. I stayed on board with him as a huge snap through 7. Manages to hold on, but that was very nearly an early retirement for the AlphaTauri. But yeah, the softs around here, I'd be quite surprised if we saw a lot of the drivers start on them. I think most people would try and push for those mediums. But with that being said, when you've got a lot of people pushing for the start on the medium compound tires, you can get a few drivers who would usually qualify outside the top 5, maybe outside the top 10, sneak in on those softs, try and get a little bit of grid position. And it's an interesting balance between tyre strategy and just raw pace and qualifying performance. As I do believe Scars now in the Alfa Romeo, rounding the final corner, will be the first to set a flyer, but he has stopped utilizing ERS, so it is a 1:16.9, but I think we're going to see a lot faster coming out of many of these drivers.
It appears.
Oh, Jake having a big slide and spin coming out of turn 12.
Have to see what's going on here. Getting that car turned back around, very unfortunate. I was taking a look at XTXP as well, who I think invalidated one of his runs and went back around just to get some repetition in around the circuit. Jake trying to figure out if he has damage here. Aliens crosses second in the Williams now to get a time on the board. No damage for Jake, but the tires will be toast. Aliens, yeah, that 131.662. Definitely a big drop in time compared to where Scars landed.
Yeah, and Striff, I'm seeing a lot of red track maps all around. There's a lot of people invalidating. Hurricane now to the line. What's he going to pull out of the bag? It's a 114.7. That is a bit more where I would expect things to be. I think Scars dropped the lap just because, like we said, these softs not really the ideal starting tires. But yeah, a lot of invalidations. Swifty invalidated. Kai invalidated. I believe Azir invalidated. He's on an invalidated lap as well now. XXP, like you said, Liam. A lot of drivers struggling right now, and this many track limitation warnings here leads to penalties in the race.
Yeah, this is going to be... We've seen so much intensity through the Tier 3, 2, and 1 divisions, as well as Americas and APAC, but really a lot of the focus has been on the 3 tiers for the European regions. And I have to say, Tier 3, they gave us a really good show. They gave us a great race yesterday. I think it was fantastic. I personally enjoyed it quite a bit. And today we have Tier 2, and we've seen how the gaps come through in qualifying and how different tire strategies and, well, invalidations can play a role, of course, on the gap to leader and the separation of the grid. But we know, given how we've seen this season, all of these drivers are capable of taking race wins, the same as it was in Tier 3 and the same as it is in Tier 1. These qualifying sessions, on the circuits where there's tire strategies coming into play, I don't personally take too much stock into them because there's usually pace trapped all in around the grid. And we saw that yesterday, even so, more or less with the rain in Tier 3. But 4 drivers, a third of the way through qualifying with laps set. And that really does give you a good picture of what's going on here. And I think that a lot of these drivers are deliberately aborting times.
Yeah, the problem is because so many of them have done it, they haven't really got a gauge of where the rest of the grid sits in terms of pace. It's all well and good invalidating these laps deliberately, but you have no idea where you're going to stack up when you eventually do go for that final run, when everyone is, doing exactly the same thing. So with all of this patience coming out of a lot of the garages right now, it also has the slight disadvantage of there's really not a lot of information. Mammal right now in the Mercedes, he is out on a flyer on the softs. It's still valid as well. Whether we see him round out the lap, well, we'll just have to wait and see as he comes up through turns 8 into turn 9 here. Well, you said it yesterday, Striff. This right here is a magnet for action, good or bad for the drivers. You can get a really great run for this one right here. The turn 10, a brilliant overtaking spot, but at the same time, it's so easy to lose it out of there. Now, through turn 12 in the Mercedes, there's Jake off to the inside. A little bit of a lock-up as well for the Mercedes into the chicane, a very tricky portion of the circuit to get right and straight back into the pit lane.
Into the pit lane, yeah. So not even going to go across the line to get a time set here.
Everyone is just waiting until that final bit. They do only get, I believe, 1 set of mediums, so if everyone wants to qualify on the mediums, you're going to want to go out in the last 5 minutes. We've got a few people. We've got Rackety, we've got XTXP, Henners has come out on the mediums, so I think we are going to start seeing a few more times that are representative of the qualifying times that this session will end with.
Well, XTXP running a lap on these mediums right now. He is the only active driver on a flyer on the medium compound tires. You only get the 1 set and you don't want to burn him up, so this is crucial for him. A major lock up there on the front left as he comes through turn 12. Not invalidating on the exit. Turn 10, excuse me. And here we go through now sector 3. He does not want to invalidate this. He needs to get a time through with this lap, or he will come straight into the pit lane. Just getting a feel for these mediums, but I don't see him doing that. That would be a waste. Now here he goes out of the final turn. DRS on the rear now, wide open to the line. What's it going to be for XTXP? It's a 15.488 on the mediums, and that will be a good time out of him to get himself into the top 10. Darian Alfie crosses behind a 14.842. Both Ferraris right now on the front row. They're running the softs. And that is a very interesting strategy choice out of them. They could be gambling on an early safety car behind them in order to get in early and then go for a very, very different stint here. There's a lot of different strategies that can come out, especially when you start on softs and have safety cars come out. But right now, only 2 times in the top 10, of course, on the mediums. Henner's jumps XTXP by 600ths of a second.
Yeah, Aliens has just hopped in as well, a 114.9. That is on the soft compound as well. So a few of these drivers, Hurricane, Darian, Aliens, pushing for these soft lap times. Hurricane's coming out again on the softs. And, well, we've seen Hurricane. He's had some really great races so far. He's really on form in his early stage of the season. And, well, he's definitely got the pace here on this grid. Whether he's got the strategy here tonight, well, that's something we're just going to have to wait to see play out. And Rackety, he has invalidated his medium run. He's going to go again. I think he's serving up the ERS down in Sector 3, but very unfortunate for the Renault. Liam, he's on an invalidated flight as well in the AlphaTauri. Wavy, I think, will hop into the... No, he is going to drop it on the line as well, a 115.9, but it would have been a lot higher had he not come off the throttle. Crampy's called it quits in the pit lane, I believe, and I don't know if he hasn't set any time out there right now.
Liam was on an invalidated run now as Zier in the Williams has begun. He's coming through turn 2 now into turn 3, and he's on these mediums. No time set out of the Williams just yet for him. Aliens, however, his teammate, that 14.9 on the softs. We could see a different split strategy coming out of the Williams camp here.
Little bit of a news on Crampy. Crampy not going to be racing. He's had some sort of problem with his pedals, and just so that he doesn't cause chaos in this race, he's retired. Start at the back of the grid and will be retiring at the end of lap 1. His pedals not going to work out for him, and to keep the rest of the grid safe from, you know, any just unstoppable cars flying into turn 1. Crampy taking a sensible decision to retire the car. So very unfortunate for the Alfa Romeo driver, but
a genuine technical retirement, Unicorn. You hate to see it. You genuinely hate to see it.
Not pleased. Possibly the worst way to retire because, well, it's a physical replacement. Hurricane now to the line in the Ferrari. He's already a provisional pole. Can he improve? He can. 3/10, 114.4. That sets him head and shoulders above the rest of this grid. Darian, interestingly enough, has switched onto the mediums. Can you go faster than a 114.8 on those?
Well, I want to take your attention real quick there, Unicorn. As Zier has jumped that Williams onto the second row behind the Ferraris. It was a 14.887 on the mediums. Darian, as you said, he's flipped to the mediums. We'll see if he comes out. 6 minutes remaining now. And I think this is where we're going to start to see the outlaps coming through for these drivers getting in these final runs now. I think everyone might come out a little bit earlier to see what's going on. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We're getting to that end now of the qualifying session, and this is where things can get tricky, and you can invalidate here. So you run a big risk if you come out tight. We'll just see how things go. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch at the end. It was a very, very fun qualifying finale for Alex Bitto and I commentating Tier 3 yesterday as well.
Yeah, that track last night, very much drying up at the end of the race. Loads of fast times hurtling in at the end. And despite the fact that we got a dry qualifying here, I think it's going to be a pretty similar scenario. Everyone's just going to be throwing in those best lap times right at the very end. Everyone's waiting to get these good runs out on the medium tyres. So we look, I don't think anyone right now out on a fly. Maybe Relax. He's invalidated on the softs. I wouldn't be supposed to see him pull into the pits, get himself onto some mediums for the final 5 minutes. But this is when we are going to start to see everything start to get pushed up. Everything getting ready. Kai coming into the pit lane off of the medium. So hasn't gone as well as for him as he'd hope. As Jake is flying on the mediums now in the Red Bull.
Yeah, just switched to Jake now on board coming out of turn 4. And we'll see what the Red Bull is able to do. No times from half of this grid pretty well at this moment. But you can see the majority of the grid jumping onto the medium compound tires, wanting to get those times in now. Hurricane still on the softs, and the question is, will he be getting out to do any kind of running on the medium? Or is he going to stick with those softs? And of course, Darren Alfie, he's sitting in the pit lane on a set of mediums right now. The question is whether he'll... Oh, he's leaving. So Darren Alfie is on the way out. Here comes Jake now through Sector 3.
Hurricane's playing a risky game if he does want to set a medium lap time because, well, that's a pretty impressive soft lap time to begin with. But like you said, here comes the Red Bull out of the final corner. DRS down towards the line. It's a 1:14.9. Very, very competitive lap time. Just over 1/100th of a second of Azir's time. But very tight between the two medium runners. We'll see where Darren Alfie lands himself because he needs to beat both of them, Jeff, if he wants to start on the mediums.
Yeah. Rackety right now. No time set. He's coming through the final chicane, and we'll see if he's able to do something here. A little bit of a drift coming out of the penultimate turn there. Here we go. P6 for the Renault. He's done that on the soft, so he's got a little bit of an idea going on. 50, we saw he started a flyer in the partnering Red Bull. Able to do now. 15.387 on the medium. Good time from Swifty.
Scars, he's just had a little bit of an issue coming through turn 4. Big slide, and now he's dropped the lap. Not happy. He's got time to do one more run. His tyres will be a little bit worse for wear, but not unusable by any stretch of the imagination. But again, a knock to the confidence can sometimes just be enough to stop someone from going for that charge. Darian Alfie right now. Hurricane, well, he's retired it. He's called it quits in the pit lane. He is going to be sticking with that 1:14.4 on the softs. Can his teammate improve upon his time? Continue himself in P2. Maybe even take pole position away on these mediums. It would be very, very impressive if he did so. Down. He's up. Oh, well, that's not good. He's down 1.5 tenths on his previous best. Either he needs a monster third sector, or he's better have hoped that he dropped it previously, but there's an invalidation from the Ferrari, and that is pretty much game over. He's got one more attempt realistically.
Yeah, I don't see him coming out on another run here. Yeah, he's into the pit lane, so he's going to be starting on the soft compound tires. Weltering in the AlphaTauri. He's just come out of turn 2 through 3 now. He's begun his last run. Mammal has invalidated his medium run, so he will be starting very far back on this grid. Liam invalidated his medium run as well. So we'll jump on with Weltering to see where he's at. There's a variety of other drivers on the move. Actually, we'll look in to see where, well, Relax. It would appear he has just begun a flyer.
There's a lot of people here that are just... Mammal's invalidated his flyer. Weltering still going down into turn 10. Sam as well, coming out. Here's a reserve on this grid, but he's late on the softs here, so he's going for a real hard charge on the faster cop out of tire, but struggling a little bit through turn 9, manages to get it caught. But I want to see where he stacks up in all of this. The reserve in the racing point.
Big issues right now for Weltering there. Through out of turn 10, Sam now comes through.
Down into turn 13. Clipping the sausage curb on the inside just that little bit, but through the chicane, much nicer. Now, the qualifying just about to end. Where can he put himself on this grid? It's P8 for the racing point. 1:15.3 on those softs.
Weltering crosses despite his issues. A 1:35.242. He looks to be running again on these mediums, Unicorn.
There's someone else on the mediums who's not set a lap time yet. Neon, where's he going to jump? P2, a 1:14.6 for the McLaren. That is a very, very nice time. That is exactly what Darian Alfie would have been looking for moments ago in the Ferrari, but he bumps one of the Scuderias into that second row on the grid, and the Ferraris, both of the softs, have someone to worry about big time drift.
Yeah, I'd say so for certain here. He's on the mediums sitting between two soft runners. And he's going to be thrilled about it.
When you said Weltering, I think he might be the only one left out here on a flyer. Apart from Kaibachini. Kaibachini to the end.
The
8th place at 1:15 flat, but that again on the soft tires, so he's valuing that track position.
Here comes XTXP now to the line. He's on softs. What's he going to do? He jumps 10th here. Is anyone going to improve in front of him? Weltering's coming to the line now. P13 of 15.333. Where's Liam? He's on softs. He jumps 16th position, 15.584.
Well, I think that wraps up qualifying. Drift, and I think the only other person right now, Sam, no ERS deployment. He's going to put it straight into the pits here. And that he does.
Well, very unique sessions for qualifying in Spain, especially with the tire degradation that comes with softs. Everybody getting a few practice runs in, and it wasn't until the end of this session that we really had our grid represented here, and we'll take you through it in just a few moments. It'll be Neon starting on the front row on mediums, Hurricane on pole position. Once again, Hurricane in the Ferrari, a 14.485, soft compound tires. He starts on pole. It's the Dutchman, Neon, the McLaren behind him, a 14.687, just 0.2 off the rear of the Ferrari on the mediums. The other Ferrari, Darian Alfie, will round out the top three with Azir in fourth, in the Williams, Jake in the Red Bull, fifth position here. Good separation on this grid from first down all the way to 15th position. It is less than a second. A few drivers not able to get times in here. A few last minute invalidations. Of course, we'll go down through the rest of this grid with you on the formation lap.
Yeah, there's a really nice mix of mediums and softs, especially in that top five. A lot of medium runners there. 3 out of the top 5 on mediums, 6th place as well. And then the rest of the top 10, I think, on softs. So that mix of tires is going to provide some very, very entertaining racing, and the pit window is going to be one of, well, these races better hope they got a good strategy strip, because they need to be on it today. They need someone preferably watching what everyone else in the race is doing, because we didn't really see it yesterday when in Tier 3 with all of the medium runners as a result of that wet qualifying, but you just want to see how everyone just sort of comes out of that pit window when you've got everyone in traffic. The undercut isn't huge around here compared to some of the other tracks, so it's a very, very interesting strategy that we've got going to develop here.
Prediction in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Get your predictions in. Soft or medium qualifier to win this race. It's Tier 2, Round 6. Of course, it is the Spanish Grand Prix. My name is Strifium, and joining me is Unicorn, and we'd love to give a quick shout-out to our lovely partners, Next Level Racing. Of course, check out their website via the link in the chat or in the panels down below. They have some amazing sim racing rigs over on their website for the beginner all the way to the advanced expert level. Motion sims, light rigs, compactable rigs. Check them out, guys. They're really, really helping out sim racing and making it more accessible for everyone. Once again, Hurricane on pole position. Neon will line up next to him in the McLaren. It's Darian Alfie, third position here with Azir in the Williams, fourth. Jake in fifth, Scars in sixth, Aliens in seventh, Rackety in eighth with Kaibachini in ninth with XTXP in the other Renault rounding out the top 10. Henners will follow them. Relax, Weltering, Sam here as well in a reserve capacity, making his debut. Swifty in 15th position, 16th for Liam. Cotter 17th with his teammate Wavy behind him in 18th.
Who is that? Darian spun.
Oh, Crampy, 19th, is not going to be driving. Mammal in 20th. And yeah, it looks like Darian has had an issue here on formation. He's going to restart. Well, he's going to get reset to the front of the grid. Or to the grid, I should say. Taking a look at the tires, the back 10. Everybody is on the mediums with the exception of one driver, and that is Weltering opting for the hards. The rest of the front 10, well, that's fairly mixed. We have 5 drivers on softs, 6 drivers, excuse me, on softs, with 4 on mediums. Neon, Azir, Jake, and Scars, the only drivers in the top 10 on the mediums.
Yeah, I'm not going to count Weltering out of this one. The hard compound, especially in P13, that reverse hard-medium strategy might work out well for him. I think it worked out, I believe, back row yesterday pulled it off pretty well in Tier 3, and I had some up-close and personal experience with that strategy coming out of the Red Bull. But, yeah, Weltering in P13, starting on those hards, could be a really nice strategy, especially with that block of 4 soft runners not too far up the road from him. And, well, Hurricane, Darian, and the rest of these soft runners need to be careful of what sort of traffic they get put into it at the start of this race.
Yeah, without a doubt, Darian not going to be happy. He's on cold tires, but at least they're softs, not mediums. That'll be a little bit better for him to get things up to temp. But here it is now. 3, 4, 5 red lights here in Barcelona. It's the Spanish Grand Prix Tier 2, and the drivers are away. Neon with a good launch off the line. He's going to take Hurricane already on the way into turn 1. A big cut coming out of him to close the door. Reminding me of Michael Schumacher on the way into this first turn, and this is a very clean start from the majority of this grid as we come through now. Turn 3.
He's around, as is Aliens. And that's not gone well into turn 2. Not quite sure, but I think it was one of the Red Bulls drift had a pretty terrible start. Hurricane as well, down 4 places. It's really not gone well for him either. And well, when you start on softs, you want a better launch off the line than everyone else and start using his pace. But for the Ferraris, things have not gone well.
Ooh, Henner's now around the outside of XTXP on the way through turn 7. Swifty on the rear end of this, and this is really intense in the midfield here now. Hurricane looking up the inside of the Red Bull, and Jake now as we come through turn 10. Wheel to wheel, there's still wheel to wheel now through turn 9, or excuse me, 11. This is really wild racing that we've already seen here. Neon in the lead of this race ahead of Azir. Both Ferraris dropping 3-4 now. Jake in 5th, Kai in 6th, Relax is 7th with his teammate, and Sam behind him. Liam in 9th, and Henners, your top 10 here as we come through into lap 2.
Yeah, Relax looking really strong on this start right now, Striff, and not someone who is a stranger to just doing these moves, but yet to really score too many points. 17 points on the table for him, and right now looking like he could score a lot more with this strategy. Crampy pulling it into the pit lane. His real life pedals causing him a few problems. The timing tower having a bit of a moment as well.
Well, Timing Tower always playing its games. Crampy retiring due to a genuine technical problem with his pedals, and we greatly appreciate him bowing out instead of potentially causing issue. I believe it was something between his throttle and braking. So Neon leading this race right now in the McLaren.
Kai Bacchini took a 3-second penalty already on lap 3.
Well, that's not exactly how he wanted to start this race. It's a very long race, and we've seen how penalties can come through here around Barcelona already in Tier 3 and America's action last night as well.
Well, Hurricane's caught his teammate after the poor start that he had, and now looking with DRS on the inside of Darian Alfie, the two Ferraris. I don't think either wants to make this too difficult for the other. They've had a poor start and they need to work together to get the best result for the team that they can out of this one. Already 3 laps in on these softs, and it won't be too much longer until we see them in for at least their first stop, if they are pushing for a 2-stop. Most of them, I think, will probably be going soft hards and then medium hards for the rest of the runners.
Scuderia, they have to be careful right now. They have a charging bull in the rear view in Jake, and well, Jake's no slouch, and he's going to be looking to do everything he can to catch up with those horses in front of him. Right now, the Racing Point's following Kai Bacchini quite closely. Kai Bacchini 6th position with that penalty. He's on the softs with a train of medium runners behind him. I have to say, he is in a very difficult position.
Yeah, I think, like you said, Jake is a real threat to these Ferraris, and to Kai Bacchini as well, because you know, the softs are already dying out. You can see it. They're just not really able to keep up. And Hurricane is dancing around the 1 second mark to Azir. Kai Bacchini as well, dancing around 1 second to Jake. And if they lose DRS respectively here, Hurricane didn't actually have it. He didn't actually get close enough
Azir
to regain it as Azir and Neon.
Run. Oh, he looked for it. He was going for it. Henner's right now behind them. He's looking for his own move. He looks to the inside. I don't know if he was going to find anything there from Henry. He got off the line to perhaps sneak through. Thought better of it. Liam running wide through turn 3 here might give Henry an opportunity.
Yeah, and there's still just a few drivers. Relax has a cheeky look up the inside of Kai Bacchini and locks up to get that car backed out of the move down into turn 5. It's a risky place to overtake, but certainly can work. With a Racing Point realizing that it wasn't going to and backed out. Very smart of him to do so. Still has DRS on that Mercedes ahead, and the Mercedes on these softs he has dropped out of the DRS zone of Jake ahead of him. And with that 3-second time penalty, it's already looking pretty bad for Kai Bacchini, but we've seen him do some excellent recovery drives in the past strip, and today it might look like he might be on for another one.
That's very true. That's very true. He's had some fantastic recovery drives through his time in the MRL, and now we have Henner still looking at Liam here. Everyone getting a little bit unsettled over the curbs of the final chicane, as now Henry utilizing some of that battery on final exit here. DRS now on the rear wing. He's going to look to hunt him down. Azir on the rear of Neon. Not close enough to do anything just yet. Here goes Relax. Wheel to wheel with Kai Bacchini around the outside. Major lockups for both drivers. This is going to expose him to his teammate and Sam. Sam looking up the inside through 3. Getting a little bit of a shove off there. Now Liam.
Yeah, not too far behind as well. Wavy just tried it up the inside of Weltering down into turn 1. Nearly ended very poorly. The pass getting very, very wobbly out of that corner. Just tapping the rear wheel. Luckily, neither has any damage, I do believe, from the incident. And neither has spun around either. But like you said, Henner's still just glued to the rear of the Racing Point, who gets a little bit wobbly himself out of turn 9. Manages to catch it. He is reserving right now, and he's doing a pretty fine job of it as they come through turn 10. Still all in this huge train behind Kai Bacchini, who's dropped 2 seconds to Jake in the last lap.
Well, I'll say one thing. Sam doesn't want to be doing that too many times, because he nearly became one of those turn 9 retirements that you and I talk about all the time here. Enters now. Oh, he's hungry. He's going for it here. Look at this run. DRS for Sam. DRS for Henners. It doesn't matter for the Racing Point. Here he goes now. On the outside. Does Sam look for it up the inside for a potential switchback? No. Relax just in front. Holding with Kai Bacchini quite well here. How's the exit through 3? Sam dropping off. He's struggling. Henners. Clear target ahead in Relax, but Relax sticking well with Kai Bacchini. Kai 3.2 off the rear of the Red Bull in Jake, and here goes Relax up the inside. Does he get this move done? It's wheel to wheel. The mediums now coming into their own versus these softs. He's still along the inside. It's still wheel to wheel as we come through sector 2. The Racing Point on the inside now. Oh, what racing we're seeing between these two. And Kai, ladies and gentlemen, has held on to this position for the time being as we come out of turn 9 now. DRS for the Racing Point. Does he have a look to the inside? Well, he looks, but he doesn't send it. Kai with a very tight hold there on to 6th position, but he knows Relax wants this. One thing to talk about, though, with this Racing Point, that energy deployment's nearly dry, and Kai is sitting with a near full battery here, Unicorn.
Yeah, and I think Kai's out to come into the pits if Dirk Chocolate is to be believed here, and there he goes. Dirk Chocolate, the race engineer for Kai, and now Henners again is going to look for another move. It's another Racing Point in his sights. Sam last lap. Relax this time, the McLaren around the outside. He made the last one look easy, and well, he's done it just about again, Striv. Look at this guy. He is on a supercharge right now, and well, with a good run of form in the last couple of races, can he make it 3 podiums in a row?
Weltering right now, looking at the rear of the Renault. XTXP holding on that inside as he comes into turn 4. He switches back to the line, and you can tell this is about to go down. Near ahead of them, there's an issue. Relax. What's happened with Relax? Relax has spun around. He's done a 180. Traffic coming through, and he's going to try and get that car turned around. And it has gone from bad to worse in a lap here for the Racing Point in Relax, and he is not going to be thrilled about that as Liam now is free to hunt down his teammate.
Such a good start for him. Wavy is quite close to the rear of Weltering, not getting out to find the move, though. Although maybe Weltering a little deep into the hairpin. Wavy has a look up the inside, but isn't able to get that exit through on that tight inside line. But yeah, Relax was looking very strong off the start, but like I said, it's just sort of deteriorated over the last couple of laps, and now he finds himself out of the points. And well, Sam, he is reserving for the Racing Point squad, so no points will be scored for them, despite the good fortune they had yesterday. At least at the moment, Relax may be able to claw something back from the remainder of this race, but he's so far behind. Wavy, meanwhile, around the outside of Weltering, down the start-finish straight. Similar fashion to how we saw Henners overtake just a few moments ago. And, well, again, as easy as you like, down into turn 1 with that DRS and ERS in full utilization.
Been a lot of fun racing that we've seen here so far. Wavy right now into 11th position. We'll look to hunt down XTXP as Weltering has been unsuccessful. Relax has taken 3 seconds. Kai Bacchini, Rackety, the only two drivers to pit in this race so far. The entirety of this grid in close formation right now. Could present a lot of opportunity for undercuts, DRS utilization, things of the like as well. Tring gets a little shaky, and he takes a 3-second time penalty as well. And we saw with Relax, any mistakes in this grid right now will drop you almost certainly to the rear of the equation.
Well, you've still got this huge train that's, well, not so much now, but Henner's was sort of the lead of it. These 4 cars between 6th and 9th have sort of broken away, but there's still that huge train shift in that mid-pack. Hurricane, he's into the pits. He's the first of the Ferraris to come in. Darian Alfie, I would expect to come in on the next lap.
Yeah, that soft strategy. Very interesting here as Neon and Azir at the front of things. Within a second is the Williams of the McLaren in front, and a little bit of a tango happening at the front end of this grid. A little bit of a dance between these two. Neon, Azir, they will be pitting soon enough, I imagine, and they'll eventually perhaps find some traffic given how the tire strategies have gone for a few of the racers. We'll have to see how it comes through.
Yeah, Hurricane down in 15th right now, but a lot of clean air. Chance for him to just sort of put the throttle down, catch up a little bit, and all of these medium runners, they still have to pit. You know, that it's not a completely one-sided equation. Obviously now the gap looks absolutely monumental, but as it stands, all of them still have to pit. Hurricane can go to the end on these tires, and well, a safety car would be, I'm sure, a miracle for the Ferrari squad in a little bit of time. There goes Darian Alfie into the pits himself, and well, to see, I expect him to come out just behind his teammate.
Well, Azir looks to be kicking things into overdrive at the minute as he is now tightening up the Neon.
There goes
here.
Liam up the inside on the Racing Point reserve of Sam, and just about gets that move done in time before turn 1.
Neat racing there. Swifty wants these guys to fight, and he wants to make sure that he's sticking with all of it.
Yeah, you got to just hang on to the rear of these guys because, well, DRS, you can just see the train. It's so long. Wavy right now at risk of dropping out, and he might have just done exactly that. So these 3 might be the next sort of bands to break away. Wavy, he's just broken back in, and he's just done it in time as well. Just clings on to the DRS of the Red Bull ahead, and Swifty has a look up the inside of Sam, who's just been saved by DRS of his own on the back of Liam.
Oh, a little bit of a tap from Swifty on the rear of Sam. Nothing as a result of that, but you don't want to be doing that too much.
Yeah, no visible damage, but the Red Bull's garage will be taking a huge sigh of relief because that was a little bit touch and go from Swifty, who might have a better exit. He's using a lot of ERS to catch that Racing Point. Has he got a lunge down into turn 1? It looks like he might just have, but the Racing Point defending the inside of turn 2 is there for him, and Swifty doesn't have the speed to carry through into turn 3 to get that move stuck, and he used a lot of ERS.
Oh!
There's a virtual safety car. Connors is out.
Well, what's happened to him? He's crashed outside of turn 2. On the left-hand side, drivers are coming through now. We can see on board with Darian Alfie that he is out, and that is a retirement for the Haas team.
Yeah, that was very, very unfortunate. I'm not quite sure what happened, but it's a pretty easy place, especially if you're side-by-side through there, to just hook a curb maybe, put yourself into that left-hand wall, but I wouldn't be surprised here if we saw the majority of this grid to come in, get themselves onto hards until the end of this race. And well, I'm sure Darian Alfie would have been begging for this one just a lap prior to this, bring himself back into contention as everyone would take advantage. But here we go, VSC ends. And
no.
that might mean we just continue racing here, yeah.
Henners just took a drive-through penalty in P4. Well, sad to see it, Henry. Sad to see it. Swifty still on the hunt of Sam, but meanwhile, Neon, Azir's really barking up the gearbox at him. Jake Henners both into the pit lane here. Interesting call out of Jake.
Yeah,
So he's taking the opportunity here anyway. Yeah, he's going to go for a huge undercut, I think, onto these hards. Very
interesting. It's a big gamble, and I don't think it's going to work out for him either because he's come up behind Hurricane. And that, to me, is a problem for the Red Bull driver. Because of that soft, hard strategy, you want to be beating that on the mediums, and Jake, just behind him, is going to struggle now. Swifty all over the gearbox of Sam here, and we've seen a little bit of a love tap coming out between the two. Sam again.
A big shake out of 9.
That's not the first time we've seen it. Closes off the outside line a little bit aggressively, but Swifty might find a way through. No, it's not going to happen for the Red Bull driver, but Sam, I don't know what sort of setup he's running, but every time I see him go through turn 9, it just looks like he's got a big shake coming out of it. So
a couple more laps, a little bit less grip, and that could end a completely different way. And Swifty right now, a little bit of a snap coming out of the final turn here, and now we go down the straight. He definitely compromised his opportunity for a potential overtake here, as Zier still has not been able to take care of Neon, who's in lead of things right now.
Yeah, they're close up to the front, but again, like you said, just not finding a way past. And Neon doesn't have any DRS to save him. A lot of these drivers, they've got that DRS ahead of them, or at least they did before this train started to break up, as it is doing now. And Liam a little bit wide through turn 4, and now it's got Sam on the back of him, Swifty on the back of him, and Wavy's not too far behind, weltering this train. Still 5 cars long.
50 now, coming through 9. We've seen Sam through 9 before. He's on the curbs. He's a lot. This is the cleanest I've seen him when we've gone through on the rear of him, and now we've had an issue. What's happened here?
Weltering.
It wasn't Sam. It was the AlphaTauri weltering out of 9. That's a retirement, and are we going to see a safety car deployment as a result? Well, nothing doing just yet. He's off the line, and that might just be, well, XDXP wanting to get a close look, it would seem. And that is going to be a safety car. The safety car has been deployed here. Neon's into the pit lane. He's onto the hards. Azir stayed out. Oh, this is huge.
Fast enough, but that's a huge error, surely, for the Williams squad.
This is absolutely huge. Azir.
Hurricane.
Azir beat the safety car, but Azir beat the safety car out. Azir beat the safety car out. So he might be all right here. Everyone's going to have a slow delta. He's got a 22-second gap to Neon. He has a 22-second gap to Neon. He might be able to come in here, get those tires on, and get in front of that. Oh, this is huge.
I'll tell you one thing that's interesting. Darian came back into the pit lane. Quite know why he's done that, but Hurricane, he's stayed out, and well, this might have just saved him.
This might
he's
be
got 3 laps at Holder, but look at him now, P3, and it won't be P2. He won't get Azir. The only one I think Azir has to fear is Neon, and even then, like you said, the Delta here.
I think Azir might be safe. Well, this has been a major development. Safety car, just about halfway through, and here comes Azir now on the way in. Doesn't want to speed. Get it slowed down. Oh, he gets it slowed down.
I think he's got it. He's got it. There's no way Neon beats him out. He's got the chicane to go, and with the Delta, that's going to be super, super slow for the McLaren driver. And Azir... Oh, Jake's just picked up a speeding under safety car.
Oh, no.
Well, that's so unfortunate.
That coming across saying that they might have seen Azir cut the line on the way into the pit lane. But this will be Azir behind the safety car now. Waiting for him here outside of turn 3. There we go. So Azir and the Williams now in the lead of this race. Neon behind him.
Well, Jake, he picked up that penalty, but now he's gone onto the medium, so some attempt at a recovery here. He's going to try and have some pace when he comes out, but going to be so far behind Strift that I don't think it's going to be any use to him. But Hurricane, for the Ferrari squad, I think it might have just seen it. His tyres are 5 laps older. Darian Alfie came into the pit, so they've covered both strategies. Darian down in P12, Hurricane up in P3. And I think with the tyres, Hurricane might continue his run of good form. You know, we finally spoke to him on the top spot not too long ago, and now he might be able to keep that podium streak alive here in Spain.
Well, I can say one thing. The stream is going to be suffering some issue now. I think it's at that point now, Unicorn, that we were prepared for, my friend. So if you are able to switch over the stream.
That's working. Jake's called it into the pit lane, Striff. He's retired while we were off air for that brief moment. Crampy saying we see, so that is excellent. And everything is back and online, and we're still under the safety car, Striff, so we haven't missed a whole lot of action.
Yeah, that's right. Best time to do it. Make sure things are getting done under that safety car in the qualifying, as we've always done. Appreciate all of the feedback in the chat. Very much. Of course, massive shout out to our partners in Next Level Racing. You can find them in the chat via the link or in the panels down below. They have an amazing lineup of sim racing rigs, and they're definitely doing a ton to provide for the sim racing community. So please help us in clicking that link and checking out their stuff, because they have a ton of great stuff there.
Well, and speaking of great stuff, this race about to get back underway. Striff, Azir getting ready to restart. 1 lap pressure hards, and well, that knowledge of the safety car and beating it out there really played into his hands here. So he's getting ready. He's getting everyone bunched up in the chicane, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see him floor it out of here. Almost throttling down a little bit too early. Really toying with Neon here, and I think it's just about worked. Caught him off guard a little bit. I think Liam's probably had the best start, or maybe even the worst, because Swifty, right on his gearbox in that Red Bull, is right behind them. Meanwhile, Kai Bacchini and Hennes, they've exchanged, and Kai making a lot of work out of those mediums. He's got a long way to go back up with Swifty, and the Red Bull hunting down P4. But Liam's got plans of his own. He's looking at the older tyres of Hurricane Striff.
Yeah, this has been a very good restart now. Azir, everybody on these hards now. Hurricane, he's on the 7-lap-old hards, but we've seen Hurricane do some pretty long stints on tires. We'll see where that lands him through the end of this race. It's Spain after all. Tires degrade a little bit excessively here in comparison to other circuits. Sam on the rear of Wavy. It's just a nice train here. Mammal, he's starting to drop out of this train a little bit. You can see now he's dancing around that 1 second range.
Yeah, and once you're out of it, that's pretty much it. You can't really catch up, and well, if Scars can take full advantage of this once DRS gets re-enabled here, that is going to be a huge problem for the Mercedes driver. They were hoping for a bit of luck, I think, here tonight, but it's not been going their way so far. But Kai Bacchini seems like he is on a bit of a charge. Meanwhile, Swifty, he's looking at the rear of Liam once more. This time, not using any ERS, and obviously no DRS available to him, and not even going for the move around the outside. Hurricane picks up a 3-second time penalty, and that is huge Striff for the end of this race.
Yeah, that is absolutely massive, most especially if we happen to get another safety car in this equation, which we know is not unheard of. Swifty still sticking with Liam further back down the grid. Kai Bacchini is on the mediums, and he is on a good tire here at the moment. Hunting down the drivers ahead in Darian Alfie, Aliens, Scars behind the train that Mammal is leading. Henners, though, looking at him on the hards. He's on 3-lap-old hards versus Kai's mediums. And, well, we've seen Henry with some good pace through the race here so far, as Aliens takes a 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, they're starting to roll in a little bit more now, and you've got that sort of point in the race where if you picked up 1 on the first lap, just, jostling for position, you picked up 1 with a mistake, you're in that, last third of the race where just 1 lapse of judgment, you've been in it for, 40 minutes locked in that concentration. 1 lapse of it, and there you go, 3 seconds straight added to the back of your time. But here we go, Scars on the rear of Mammal. He doesn't even need the DRS because he's just going to fly straight past the Mercedes. No questions asked. Can Darian Alfie do the same on the Williams of Aliens? He can't, but he doesn't quite need to right now because there it goes, the Williams straight into the wall. Hasn't retired the car, but there is a bit of damage on that front wing.
Yeah, that front left is pretty banged up, and that's going to be a guaranteed entry into the pit lane for him, I imagine. Bad luck there for Aliens.
Yeah, very, very unfortunate. Just slapped it into the wall there with the penalty as well. Maybe just suffering a little bit. Sam picks up at 3 seconds. They're really starting to come in thick and fast now as we approach lap 20 of 33. The leaders entering the final sector.
Things are starting to space themselves out here in the restart just a little bit now, as you have Azir, Neon Hurricane fighting for podiums. Liam dropping behind 2.8 with Swifty, Wavy, Sam in close proximity.
And just as you said his name, Wavy picked up that penalty, and well, at this rate, they won't play a big role if everyone's got one.
Here goes Darian on Mammal, coming down the pit straight here, and DRS and utilization, not a ton of battery. That's going to be the Ferrari through, but who else is here looking at Mammal? It's his teammate in Kai Bacchini going through around Mammal. And that has to be either one of the cleanest team overtaking transitions I have seen, or Kai was genuinely racing him.
Well, he's in a way, he's slotted himself into the points, and I think for Mercedes, if it wasn't a team order, it makes sense if it was, because now Kai on those mediums can try and take advantage. He does have that time penalty though, something Mammal is clear of, as Relax gets very wobbly, coming through out of 7 and 8, up into 9. Henner's now right on the rear of him, a little bit of contact between the two as they go down towards turn 10. And the camera's really not giving us the best shot of this, but Relax really struggling for grip here, Striff. 9-lap-old hards are not working out for him at all.
No, Relax is really struggling. Henner's making short work of him there. It was definitely a tight maneuver, but he got it done.
Yeah, fastest lap's coming through, yeah.
Hurricane just set the fastest lap of the race, and he's on the oldest tires on this grid.
DRS really helping that Ferrari right now, but Neon said it before him as well, so Hurricane's got something up his sleeve. 3-second penalty is a problem, but right now those front three are running away, and Hurricane's still on for a podium here. Something he is not uncommon, and we've seen him up there plenty of times prior to tonight. But 4.4 seconds between him and Liam might have a bit of a problem with Swifty hunting him down. So Hurricane, after what looked like a really poor race start, well, what was a really poor race start, Striff, now he's had the recovery drive of a lifetime to get himself up into what looks like a podium position at the tail end of this race.
This has just been a very dynamic race when you look at the position changes. A lot of red in this timing tower.
And I'm just wondering, Striff, like, how do these drivers break the deadlock here? We've got these trains starting to form, and we've got Liam conducting one right here in 4th place, and the only thing that this is going to contribute towards is just battling between him, Swifty, Wavy as well. These three locked in a battle. Then you've got Scars and Sam battling behind them, and this just leads to the leaders just able to run away.
Here goes Kai Bacchini. Oh, he looked at Darian. Darian a little bit later on the brakes. I think if Darian had broken any earlier, Kai might have sent it there. But he is hunting down that Ferrari now, as Wavy's hunting down Swifty. A little bit tighter than Swifty is to Liam. But as Kai is on these mediums versus the hards of Darian, keen to see what will unfold here, as Henners is still sticking with Mammal.
Yeah, but now when you look at Henners, we've seen him pull a few good moves out so far this race. Out of the points right now for the McLaren squad, but no penalty. And a lot of pace, it looks like, here on the rear of Mammal. Could see him still get some points here. Well, there goes the penalty, Striff, of commentator's curse if I've ever seen one, as Mammal, very early on the brakes there, almost allowing Henna's by.
That was very, very early there from Mammal. Scars has taken a 3-second time penalty. Hurricane, Wavy, Sam, Scars, Kai Bacchini, Henners, Relax, and XTXP all have the black and white flag next to their name, and I can confirm they all have 3 seconds of time penalties, no more, no less. And this train looking quite good right now as it's Kai Bacchini once again on the rear of Darian. Nothing doing into turn 1 for the second time in a row.
And the front 3 aren't spacing out at all. If anything, they've got a little bit closer than they were off of that restart. DRS starting to pull each other back towards them. Azir's biggest hope is that Neon and Hurricane get pulled into battling with one another. But Neon, DRS on the rear of the Williams right now. He just wants to keep it that way because, well, if either one of them picks up a penalties, it's pretty much a race win for the other, at least at this moment in time. But they haven't swapped at all, Striff, despite the fact that Hurricane did pick up that fastest lap not too long ago.
Relax right now on the rear of XTXP, tire differential and DRS and utilization. I saw Relax and Rackety both getting a little bit shaky through 8 and then coming through turn 9, of course. And there's a big slide out of Relax there. That's going to bring Rackety a little bit closer, but he's lucky to have caught that. Wavy in this train with Sam on the rear of him, Scars there. Darian Alfie not too far out of it with Kai on his rear. Nothing too much doing at the moment, overtaking wise. We'll see if Kai Bacchini has another look at Darian. It looks like he will. He's got a massive charge here. Look at the speed coming out of Kai. This time around, he's fully ahead of that Ferrari in through turns 1 and 2, and I don't think Darian's got an answer for this on the hards right now.
I think Darian was just sort of struggling there with the line through there because you can see him hop onto that inside curb and it almost looked like he was going to lose it. Manages to hold on. Very nicely done from the Ferrari driver, but yeah, Kai, he's been looking like he's wanted that move for a little bit now and finally makes it. Can he catch up though? He's 1.8 seconds out of range, well, 8/10 out of range of Scars, 1.8 seconds behind, and well, his tyres are going to die off quicker than these hards, so he really needs to put himself into the back of that DRS train. Relax behind. Has he got the run this time out of turn 9 that he needs? Wavy and Swifty have exchanged.
Well, it appears Swifty has had a disconnection of some capacity. There goes the car. There goes this. It said he's left the session. Wavy's through into 5th. This will bring Sam through, I imagine. And we know what happens when an AI car comes into the equation here. We'll see if it ends up pitting Swifty for some odd reason or something of that capacity. Or at the very least, if he can get back into the session, we'll see if it rubber bands him, because we saw it in Americas where that played a role. Here goes Scars around the outside, deep around the outside. Does he make a move into turn 1 on Sam? Oh, he was looking for it, but he got on the rear of that racing point for the time being. Sam now wide through turn 3. Look at Scars. Just cruising on the inside now. A little bit later on the brakes for him. He's going to get this move into 7th position.
Yeah, well, for Scars, it's the opportunity of a lifetime. Look at that. Straight up. Oh, but into the rear of Swifty. I'm not sure that's because Swifty was rejoining. But Scars really now, he wants to take full advantage of that disconnect while he still can. But Swifty right now, reconnecting. He's going to take control of that Red Bull any moment. There he goes. And like you said, Striff gets lagged a little bit. I think that puts Sam off because he's like wobbled into the gravel. And Kai Bacchini is all over the gearbox of him right now. The Mercedes right on the rear of a very wobbly racing point. We've seen it all evening from the reserve. He just hasn't looked like he's got the most stable setup, but he's made it work for the first 26 laps. He just needs to make it work for another 7.
Yeah, this is really intense now. Swifty, very happy to see him get back in the session. No major issues being caused as a result. And here goes Sam, Kai Bacchini. Everybody's in this tight formation, but Kai Bacchini's closest. He's burning that battery. He's looking at the inside of this racing point. Is he going to send this down the inside? Yes, he is. Down through turn 1. Kai Bacchini on the outside through 2 now. I don't know if he's going to get this move done. I don't believe he will. Sam holding on to 8th position for right now. Kai still looking at him very tight as we come through into turn 4 here.
Well, this racing point is costing Kai big time because this is bringing out the gap between Scars, Swifty, and Kai. And if he's not careful, this is going to lose him DRS on those 2 guys ahead. And that is where a lot of points are going to be lost out.
Azir holding very well in lead of this race right now in the Williams. Neon behind him, less than a second is the gap, and they have the Ferrari of Hurricane on the podium steps with them for the moment. 8.2 seconds the gap between Hurricane and Liam behind in 4th position.
Neon right now, maybe a run on Azir for P1. The McLaren look to the inside, switch back to the outside, and I don't think he's going to have the run he needs. Maybe if he'd stuck with the inside line. Not sure if it would have shaken out for him. No, Kai Bacchini, again, another run on the racing point. This time, opting for the outside line. Looking for it down into turn 1. Can he find it very much off the curb, very late on the brakes? And what a beautiful overtake that is. XTXP and Mammal as well exchanged just behind them. Up into P12 for the Renault driver. Both Renaults right now outside of the points.
Neon looking tight at Azir now. He looks to potentially have a move into turn 1 there and could just be biding his time. Waiting and waiting to strike here.
And Darian Alfie could be under some pressure from Hennes as they come onto the DRS straight outside of turn 9. Again, Sam just losing the rear that little bit. It's going to cost him time every single time he does that. But Darian holding on to P10 from Hennes right now and not able to get past the racing point either. Let's go back on board with the leaders. Can Neon get the run this time? He's using ERS again, and this time he's got a much better run strip. Down into turn 1, the McLaren is well and truly ahead for P1.
Well, the ball is now in Azir's court to go and get that back. Neon with all of the potential in the world here for a win if he's able to pull away from this Williams.
Hennes late on the brakes, down into turn 1, almost cost him everything he had because it almost cost him the race, but still outside the points. Just tried to send it on the inside of Darian. Darian without a penalty right now could see himself gaining a couple of positions at the end of this race, but Hennes trying all he can to get past the Ferrari, who started this race all the way up in P3. His teammate right now, Hurricane, sits in the 3rd place spot. Meanwhile, it's another Mercedes on the rear of a racing point. It's not Kai and Sam anymore, it's Mammal and Relax. Hunting down, it's P13 on the table between these two, with Rackety looking just behind them. And again, Mammal and Rackety without penalties. Swift could see a couple of points if they really play their cards right and something goes wrong up at the top of the field.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of hope there. A little bit of hope. Azir right now within half a second of Neon, still hunting the McLaren after Neon took him for lead of the race last lap through. We're on lap 29 out of 33. And this has been a very dynamic race. That safety car really shaking things up in this race.
Yeah, not long left, and there's still a couple of people. It's just about when to make that move. Turn 1, best place to do it, but obviously on the last lap, that comes very early, so do you strike earlier? Do you go for lap 1, turn 1 on a lap prior to the last lap? When do these guys make the move? Darian's dancing all over the rear of Sam right now. He wants to get through. He's was under pressure from Hennes, and now the tables have turned for the Scuderia driver, who's piling the pressure onto the reserve. Sam feeling it evidently off the track. Would be very surprised if that wasn't a warning for the racing point. He's already got 1 penalty to his name at least. Whether he picks up another, well, yet to see.
Darian's just breathing down his neck right now in this Ferrari. And we'll see if he's able to make something happen into turn 1. Right now, Azir has Hurricane tightening his reach on him.
Yeah, and this is one that could go either way. Obviously, Hurricane, 3 seconds of penalties right now, but according to chat, Azir on 2 warnings, so he could just as easily pick one up, and that could cost him here at the end. Rackety now looking around the outside, and well, we've seen that move plenty of times earlier today, and there he goes, picking up P14 outside the points, but still bragging rights and just personal satisfaction of making the move on track. On offer for the Renault driver.
Something we've been watching it all race. Sam coming out of that turn 9.
Yeah, and something interesting coming through on the chat. Dirk Chocolate Kai's race engineer saying that front left on that Mercedes is in puncture territory. And he's just in the points right now, but with Darian Alfie penalty free, and well, there's a big battle going on behind him. Sam, Darian, Hennes all locked in for the final points position.
You know, the last thing Kai would want is a front left puncture when he's holding on to P8.
Yeah, and he's got a penalty as well, and he needs to get clear, but I don't think it's going to be the case, because Darian Alfie, the one without the penalty, is going to look at the inside of the racing point, looking for P9 right now on track. And the Ferrari a little later on the brakes than the racing point, and there he goes. Very nicely crafted move with some awesome camera shots as well of it. And he picks up P9, but Hennes.
Oh, Henry. Wow. He was watching the battle unfold between Darian and Sam. Sam, with his compromised entry through turn 2, of course, gave Henry an amazing opportunity to pick up a final points position as Azir has taken a penalty. Azir's taken a penalty. He's fighting with Hurricane right now through Sector 3. We're on lap 31, and Neon is pulling away massively because of this fighting. The Ferrari has just thrown a major wrench into the equation for the Williams here. And Neon now.
Hennes came off.
Oh, no. Not good for Henners in that McLaren at all. But I'll say one thing. The McLarens will be happy that Hurricane's creating a problem for the Williams. Here he goes now into turn 1. He's looking to the inside. And Azir is definitely on notice. We're on the penultimate lap of this race, and Hurricane has P2 in his sights right now.
Yeah, it's pretty much over for the Williams. Out of DRS, Swifty and Scars, they've exchanged for P6. And, well, Darian Alfie, he's looking at Hurricane on track. He doesn't want to just beat this guy on the penalties. Striff and Kai defending in a very interesting angle. I don't think... Was that the puncher? He doesn't have it. I thought maybe there was a little bit of tyre wobble to indicate that puncture, but not yet. Darian up the inside. Kai's really struggling with that tyre wear. Almost lost it with just the slightest touch there. And he's lost P9, but he's got to be careful he doesn't lose out to Sam here, because Sam, with an equal number of penalties, I do believe, could take Kai on track position and see Kai down into 10th place. And that's not what the Mercedes wants at all.
Well, if he gets a puncture, he'll most certainly lose these points right now. And with that lockup through turn 5, I don't know what we're going to see here. He's being very careful through turn 10 here. No lockup. There's a big spin coming out of Kai there. The tire's still good. More exchanging as XTXP and Henners are wheel-to-wheel just behind. XTXP moving through on the McLaren. He's on the inside right now. We're wheel-to-wheel.
And these guys have been side by side pretty much the whole way through Sector 3. And Henners just coming out on top. And who is that? Is that Kai? He's got the puncture, I think. Well, at least he's had a problem. He hasn't got the puncture.
No puncture on the front left tire on that Mercedes. He's just had an issue coming off the curbing, it would seem. We're looking for the tire. There's no punctures on this car at the moment.
Everyone is playing for as many of these last points positions as they can. Rackety picks up P12 from Relax. He's got the other Mercedes, a Mammal, all over him as well. And there's everyone just fighting everyone right now. Henners on the rear XTXP. Up ahead for the race win. It looks like everything is done and dusted. The dust has settled, and well, it looks like it'll be the other McLaren picking up P1, provided he gets through the chicane nicely.
Wavy looking at Liam very tight here. Liam, no penalties. 11 seconds ahead here. Here goes Neon taking the checkered flag here. He will take the win here, round 6. Spanish Grand Prix action, and it will be a Azir P2 with Hurricane in 3rd. Liam now coming out of the final turn will have Wavy hot on his tail, but it will be P4 for the AlphaTauri, 5th for the Haas. Swifty will cross 6th here. Scars in 7th. Darian Alfie now is going to cross the line 8th, but he will take Scars on penalties, so he will collect 7th position here as Sam crosses in 9th, but XTXP and Rackety will jump into points here. 9-10 for the Renaults. What a race that was.
That was a very, very interesting race. The tyres, well, it was all looking done for the Scuderia, but Hurricane making it work yet again, picking up a P3. That safety car, I think, really saved him. We'll get his thoughts on that in just a moment in the interviews, fingers crossed. But there we are, a McLaren on the top spot, and I'm sure Neon and the rest of the McLaren guys will be very, very happy with that one.
Thrilling race, all being said and done. Once again, Neon will take the top step. The McLaren, he started on the front row in second position. It was a 1:16.6, the fastest lap of the race as well from him. Congratulations to Neon. We'll hear from him in a few moments for the interviews. Azir as well from fourth to second. It was a nice drive for him. And then it was Hurricane who started ahead of Neon, but dropped to third position. He still collects the podium, but not where he wanted to land after taking pole here. Liam in fourth, Wavy in fifth. It was Swifty in seventh. Swifty in sixth. Darian in seventh. Scars in eighth. Rackety in ninth. And XTXP rounding out the top 10 here for this one. We had Relax, Sam, Mammal, Henners, Kai Bacchini, Aliens, Jake, Weltring, Cotters, as well as Crampy, all for this one. Crampy retiring immediately due to a technical issue with his pedals, which is really nice to see that he sat out for that one and didn't cause any issues. So thank you very much, Crampy, for that. I know that must have been pretty sad, as we say. So, what a race that was, Unicorn. I will get us the interviews going.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot to talk about with these guys. I think the safety car, a huge turning point in the race and a huge safety for Hurricane, and it'll be brilliant to get his thoughts on that in just a moment. Azir and Neon as well, fighting it tooth and nail until the very end, but then obviously Azir's penalty. We'll get all their thoughts in just a moment when everyone hops into that interview waiting room. But everyone in the chat just reining in the points or losing all of their points. Commiserations to those who lost out. Congratulations. Tiger Style looks like he's won a huge amount of points, so congratulations to all of those who guessed correctly on the prediction. And what are your thoughts on that race to everyone in the chat? But with that being said, fingers crossed we can get that interview. I think we've got everyone ready and waiting now.
Well, it is the third place finisher, the pole sitter, the Ferrari driver Hurricane. Welcome back. How was the race?
Welcome. Hello. The race is good. My pace is good, I think. But I hate this tax throw. So this is my best.
Well, P3, a good finish for you in the Ferrari after a very dynamic race. How are you looking for Monaco? Good or bad?
Bad.
Bad? Not looking for Monaco?
I hate Monaco.
Well, it was a good race from you today. Started on pole, of course, finishing in third there. A little bit of a penalty there at the end, giving you a bit of an issue. A great battle with Azir to finish out the race. Thank you for taking the time to join us in the interview booth, Hurricane. Do you have any messages for anybody before we jump on to the second place finisher?
No.
Thank you, Hurricane. Finishing in second place for Williams. Azir, welcome to the commentary booth. Congratulations. How was that race for you?
Thanks so much. Yeah, and this race was very difficult for me. Neon has a very strong race pace, so it was impossible to me overtake him. And then P2 at home, good points, and yeah, in general, a good race for me.
Well, thank you very much for coming in to interview. How are you and Williams looking for next week around Monaco?
Monaco, it's a very difficult track, so I don't know. I don't know. I I think the objective is to survive.
Appears my mic was just having a bit of an issue there. Well, thank you very much, Azir. I hope that you do well in Monaco after such a stellar performance here in Spain today. Do you have any messages for anyone that's tuning into the stream before we jump on with the race winner?
No, no. It's I.
Oh, it looks like he disconnected. Okay, thank you, Azir, very much for coming into interview. Now, last but not least, it is going to be the race winner. It is going to be the Dutchman, Mr. Neon. Hello, sir, and congratulations on your race win here in Spain. How are you feeling?
Yeah, thank you so much, bro. That was a sweaty race, bro. I firstly want to say GG's to Asia and Hurricane as well. It was a very good race. Feeling so happy after the win.
Unicorn, do you have any questions for Neon?
Well, Neon, before the race, you were talking to Henry. Which car did you get there? Because you were saying that Sainz's car a little bit cursed for you. Did you get Lando's there and back onto the top spot?
Yeah, I sniped Lando's. I sniped Lando's car, so that maybe gave me the win. Next week I'll be in first at the session again to get my Lando car.
Well, you're now the driver with the most wins in Tier 2. 3 already in this early in the season.
Huh? It's 2. It's actually 2.
That is his second win. He took Bahrain, if I'm not mistaken.
I missed out Australia on the penalty.
That is because Racing Hub has already been updated. My apologies. I was expecting that to be a little bit.
I'm getting confused now. We're both getting confused, but yes, good job, Neon. It was.
Thank you very much.
It's been an up and down season, of course, and well,
yeah.
You got it done here in a very unique circuit. You started in the front row behind Hurricane. So, what was it like just going from that second position? You had a very good race start.
Yes. I had indeed a very good race start. I especially heated my rear tires to like 93, I think they were. Like it's pretty hot for rear tires at the start. So I had a good start, and then I jumped Hurricane. I think we had some contact. I don't know who was on fault there, but I nearly got sent into a wall. That was the shock of my life. But then after that, pretty controlling. I was racing for points, actually not for the win in the first place. But then when I came behind Age with the safety car, I just saved up all my ERS and then went for it. And then I got it in the end, which is very good.
Well, congratulations, and thank you for taking the time to come and interview Neon. We'll hope to see you here again soon. All right, well, that wraps us up, Unicorn. If you wish to close this out, since you're now in control of things after our connection issues earlier, but that was a fantastic race. And thank you, everybody, to tuning in. Of course, my name's Stryfium. And, well, Unicorn, I'll let you say your spiel, of course.
Yeah, well, again, apologies for Neon for getting his hopes up with the 3 wins there. But, yeah, very interesting race. Safety car really pulling it out, but still no rain. Striff, weather will see it tomorrow. Same time, same place for Tier 1 here around Spain. That's sure to be a very exciting race, so make sure you tune in for that. If you want to see race replays, highlights, go check out our YouTube channel as well as track guides all over there. Some awesome content, so make sure you're subscribed over there. And also, don't forget to check out Next Level Racing as well. ! NLR in that chat. Some awesome sim racing rigs over on their website, as well as a few things like flight sim rigs as well. So be sure to go give them a check out. They are doing awesome stuff for the sim racing community. But with all that being said, we'll be back for Tier 1 tomorrow, as well as me and Seb on Sunday for the APAC division. But we are going to go ahead and hit you with the outro and raid a member of the F1 community. So have a good night, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you all very much for watching.